boys, you're in for a treat today. I'm gonna show you exactly how to grow your upper back, that thick back, by targeting all three parts of the traps. Most of you jabronis hitting little shrugs and thinking that's enough. That ain't gonna do it. I'm gonna take you from upper to middle to lower, and this is going to 100% take your physique and really crank it up a notch, because there's very few spots on the body that really allow you to crank up after having years of experience inside the gym. This is gonna do it for you. Let's get to it. All right, boys, first order of business, let's get the tank top on. Why? So we can tuck in like absolute gentlemen. If you're new here, this is what we do. We're here to bring back class back into a space that has gone a bit soulless, absolutely classless. So we're here to bring it back, tank top into the shorts. However, we're going to really move this along, because it's not just, oh, don't shrug. I didn't mean it that way. But the way you shrug, because the first part is going to be the upper. Then we'll go middle, then we'll go lower, okay? But with upper, a lot of it has to do with hand placement. This took me an extremely long time to recognize as I was mindlessly hitting shrugs in front of a dumbbell rack. But one of my favorite variations is this variation of shrug where you actually grab it on the outside. Someone told me the name for these because I did these a few times in my life. I think it's like the Reeves. Pardon me, I don't know the bodybuilders and stuff, okay? I'm appreciative of the way it used to be because it was class, but I think his name was something Reeves, and someone's gonna be like, bro, that's disrespectful, you don't know his name. I said my apologies. But taking them onto the outside, and the difference is most people think just grab it and shrug. But what I like to do is even tuck in my elbows a little bit. Just like tuck them in as you're holding them out, versus it just kind of being like this and then shrugging. I like to take my elbows, like I said, and kind of twist them out. You'll feel the stretch along your traps, all the way along up here. When you just, that little slight bend makes the world of a difference. So exactly what we're gonna do is this. Take your elbows out, just like this, shrug up. Now this variation of shrug, I'm telling you, is absolutely phenomenal. And it's not that the stretch is absolutely magic, but the stretch sets you up for a better and more intention contraction. That's how we work out. We work out with intention. That's why this video is going to go through all three parts. You're going to know that this is what I'm coming in to do. With these, you hit upper. All right, that's variation number one, and I'm going to show you another variation for the uppers that you're going to absolutely love. I'm going to show you two exercises for each part of the trap. Yeah, Uncle Rami's got your back. Now the second variation that I'm going to show you is the snatch grip on the Smith machine. Pretty much just like we did over here, but obviously you can't grab neutrally, right? So you want to grab to the outside. When I say a snatch grip, you want to get your knuckles underneath the bar. My Olympic lifters know about this one. It's how you actually snatch. But those of you that don't do Olympic lifting or never have, all you're doing is taking your knuckles and burying it right underneath the bar. Because then from there, guess what? Like I said in the very, very beginning, it's a hand placement thing. Then from there, shrug up, stretch, shrug, 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 shrug. That's it. Now listen, I'm not here to take every set till failure. I am trying to speed this along for you guys, but I want to make sure you're doing these proper. That's the upper. If you hit those two variations, I'm telling you right now, your upper traps are going to grow more than all the other variations that are out there. There's a ton of ways of hitting traps. However, if you really want to directly with intention hit them, those two are going to do it for you. Time to move on to the mid traps. All right, now for the mid traps, I'm going to show you my favorite by far. Felt like that YouTuber guy. Hey guys, listen, this is what you got those. Forget that. Putting that right on the tank. My favorite way of hitting the mid traps, I'll tell you right now, is these, the Calso shrug. And I like doing them with dumbbells. All I'm doing is sprawled out. As you can see, I am sprawled out. Then from there, take my dumbbells, and I like to feel the stretch along my traps. And then I retract my scapula. You want to think of it essentially as a scapular row. That's how you want to do it. And honestly, what helps me do it right is I will retract my scapula, come up for a row, back down, unshrug. That'll help you get the right rhythm to this. Then from there, it's, you know exactly how to bang these out. Boom, stretch, up, down, stretch, up. And you want to focus on retracting your scapula. Now we're gonna do, like I said, and that's what I promised, 2 exercises per. So let me show you the second one for the mid trap. All right, third exercise is gonna be a cable variation. This one is an absolute beauty. It's very, very simple as well. I don't have cables that can go and be attached. However, it doesn't really matter. If I were you, I'd probably put on the center if you have that ability and then do what I'm about to show you. But this is absolutely a wonderful way of busting these out. And all you're gonna do, come across. Straight arm as much as possible. However, you can also come out straight and kind of hit one of these type of rows, but keep in mind the function of your mid traps is retracting. That's how you should think of it. It's like a midline. Your fibers run across. That's why I told you it's probably smartest to go like this and then hit like that. But you'll still hit it regardless. You know what I mean? The point is you want to make sure you're intention based. When you are, it's a lot easier to find proper positioning. Boom. I'm not gonna lie, I started getting carried away. These feel too good, boys. I'm just gonna let this one rip. Don't mind me. Then what you want to do is cross over to the other arm because we want to keep it class. You know what I mean? You want to make sure proportions are right. Sometimes if left hand's over the right, you do want to switch up. That's how I am. I'm a little bit weird in that way, but there's a time and place for everything. If I went right over left, let's go left over right. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, now to the lower traps. All right, an extremely simple way of hitting your lower traps is one of my favorite variations, and that is the Y raise. Let me move this stuff. The reason I have to move it is you'll see in a second. Your lower traps, you should think of it as it's not about pumping weight necessarily. It's a range of motion type of thing. It's through extension that we can properly target the lower traps. So what I like to do is I like to kind of come up over here. Make sure that you guys have a decent angle on this. Yeah. Sprawl out. It is what it is. I don't like staying sprawled out like this. Pause, you know what I'm saying? But lower traps got to get hit. So all I'm doing is I try to keep a straight arm, and you won't even need plates in the beginning. But you want to sit up, head up, posture up. Up. Boom. Boom. And you want to exaggerate the Y. And you'll find maybe your hand placement needs to be more over here, maybe a little bit more narrow. Definitely not up though. You're definitely going to have to at least come out like this, but that's completely fine. Boom. 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 Do you see those reps? Perfect. And you don't even need plates like I said. You will feel it just with using your body weight. It's a range of motion exercise. The more range, the more you're hitting this shit like Steph Curry, you know what I'm saying? There we go. That's it. Now, like I said, I promise, 2 variations per, and we're gonna end it off with the classic, because we saved the best for last. Lower traps are the best amongst all 3. I'm telling you that right now. It will fix all of your shoulder issues that people have, your posture, even having sick, crazy back lines. However, because we saved the best for last for lower traps, I want to show you the best for last for trap training. All right, best for last with a basically broken rope. I know what you're thinking. How do you have a broken rope attachment? It's, you know, gains, you know. Sometimes it gets too much for the machine, but you guys probably have perfectly lined up and well put together ropes. So congratulations, you're already ahead of me on this. But it's the face pull. Problem I see though with people that do face pulls, a lot of them are just kind of pumping the weight, hitting these. Or even worse, they go overhand and then they come up like this. Not that this is bad, but that's an upper back exercise, which also is extremely important, but that's not what today's video is about. It's about the traps. And with trap training, you need to be intentional. That is the word of the day, intentional. So you wanna come out like this, hold them out just like this. And what I like to do instead of holding them out kind of neutral, is I actually like to curl them out a little bit, just like this. And what I do is I come up and twist, and I go eye level with the metal. And I'm not trying to crack my body back either. Face pulls are something I see a lot of people struggle on, which is why I'm being a little bit, you know, specific. But your hand path in a perfect world should come out like this. But the rope obviously isn't that long. Pause. But all you're trying to do is implement that range of motion without sacrificing. It's a range of motion exercise. You should be thinking of face pulls as mobility PRs. And all you're doing is adding resistance, which is weights, to that movement. Boom. And you can even get exaggerated. Hold eye level, come down slow just to make sure you're doing it right. And then once you're good, then you can kind of speed up your reps a little bit. But they're still all intentioned. I want you to think of face pulls as 15 sets of 1 rep if you're doing 15 reps. Like, that's how perfect we need to be coming in on the face pull itself. You get what I'm saying? So all I'm thinking is boom, 1 set. That's 1 set. And if you think of it that way, how beautiful are you gonna make sure you make that rep? That's how I want you to think of it. These are absolutely baller. And I don't even have a fully functioning rope. You guys don't know what you have. Boom. And you can take these to failure once you know what you're doing. But in the beginning, I would highly recommend that you are just making sure that your reps are perfect. Even if I could have gone heavier, I could have done maybe a couple more reps. This is one of the very few exercises that you want to make sure you perfect. There's so much that comes along with the face pull. That's why people talk about it. Because once you figure it out, and it's a tough movement to figure out, but that's why I just gave you a nice little breakdown. You're welcome. But this is why it's so important. It's one of the few exercises that really takes care of a lot of issues if you know how to implement it right. Let's wrap this up. All right, there you have it, boys. See, this place is falling apart, but at least my shoulders aren't. You know what I'm saying? Nice little segue there. But I appreciate watching this video. This is everything you need for trap training. I'm telling you right now, it is one of the few places on the body that will take your physique to the next level. Obviously, I can go through, and I have a library of stuff, but the bigger muscles, it's not that they don't matter, but you're already doing all of that decently correct with things that we for sure can tighten up on. But these areas that I'm talking about are completely neglected and ignored by all weightlifters. And then they wonder why, as I'm getting stronger, I keep hurting myself. It's because the stronger you are, the more that can go wrong. It's just like a Ferrari or a nice supercar. Those cars tend to break down more than a Honda Civic. Why? Because it's capable of a lot more. That's how it works, is your body is quite literally no different. Anyways, I appreciate watching this video. Hope this is well worth your time. Understand this is also going to give you insane posture. And here on this page, we have 3 pillars: strength, resilience, character. And honestly, trap training, resilience in terms of injury resilience is OP. But in general, understand, yes, I know you want to be jacked and you want to look a certain way, right? But you also want to feel a certain way about yourself. And there's no shortcutting that process. That process can only be done by taking what you've done probably really well inside the gym. And if you're someone that works out and is in decent shape, you're ahead of 95% of the population, but don't settle there. I mean it, do not settle there. You want to take the health that we have stored up and built inside the gym or in your training, however you decide to do it, and you need to apply it over into real areas of your life. Financially, obviously with relationships, living a life where it's like, I want to be free and sovereign, right? I think everyone wants those things. But you also have to give yourself permission to be yourself and to unapologetically say, this is exactly what I want and I'm going to go get it. And that is exactly what Crusadia is going to do. And that's why I cannot wait. I've already talked about it a couple times, right? It's going to be the very first digital nation. I am not joking when I say that. It'll be a digital country. It'll be run just like it. And the whole point of it is a lot of people just doing stuff isolated in today's world. It's how people are doing it. Everyone just goes into their isolation caves, and guess what? They pop back out, they see their friends, and they're like, yeah, man, I'm a social creature. But that's not social. You're just kind of getting away from reality and having to re-inject yourself back into reality. That's not the way life's meant to be lived, and at least not in my opinion. But the problem is there's just not that many great people around, so you have to isolate yourself. There's a saying, if you have the opportunity to be with good company or by yourself, you pick good company. But if you have the opportunity to be with bad company and by yourself, you do pick by yourself. And that's why everyone is glamorizing monk mode in isolation. I'm in the trenches, disappear and come back in 6 months. And it's because you kind of have to do it isolated in today's world, and no one's been able to solve this issue. And I aim to really do that in an extremely real way. I'm not joking when I say it. You get a bunch of lone wolves together inside one room and actually learn how to lean in on one another, trust themselves, trust each other. Their wins is my wins is their wins. And that's my job to set up to where it actually is one person's wins, everybody's win. And I plan to set it up that way, but no one's been able to do that. And that's exactly what we aim to do. But that's not what this video is about. I'm just an extremely passionate individual, and I'm happy that you clicked on this video, because at least now at the bare minimum, you got some crazy traps coming your way. So, you know, not too bad. Might have to hear a little bit of a speech, but it's for the real ones. You know, those are the people that are meant to be inside, and those you're like, oh, I'm just here for the workout stuff. Great. I have no problem with that. But for the real dogs that are looking to really be like, hey, man, I actually want to take every part of my life, and I'd like to be sky high on every single one. That's what it's for. And that's why the central theme is excellence. That's exactly what we're after. Excellence, but with a smile on our face, making jokes, laughing through the process. You don't have to be angry getting to the top of the mountain. You can laugh. You know what I mean? Sometimes, even for me, I forget that. But anyways, I love you guys. From Uncle Rami to the Natural Crusaders, I love you guys. Uncle Rami out. Peace.